Hey guys, in this piano lesson we're going to learn 4 iconic bass lines on the piano. And we're going to add in some right hand comp chords to match. So the bass lines I'm going to look at today are Chameleon by Herbie Hancock, Good Times by Chic, okay, and Shaky Ground, Renee Gay version. And I'm going to adapt it to the G as well. And on the second time we'll do the etc. And we'll look at I Wish by Stevie Wonder, which is kind of like a jazz walking bass line, but a little bit more backbeat in this groove. A bit more emphasis on the 2 and 4. Great, so they're the 4 bass lines we're going to cover. We'll look at some sort of right hand comping. I'll do that as we go. We're going to look at all of these in the key of D minor, and all those bass lines I've arranged so they're also going to the 4 chord of a G7. I'll look at the specific comp chords, but generally I'm doing some kind of version of a D minor 7, which is a D minor triad, dropping down a tone, and sometimes adding in the 9th for an extra crunch. When I go to the G7, I'm just dropping this note down here and keeping all these notes the same. That actually gives us a G with a 3rd, 7th, and a 13 and a 9. So a little bit. But I do use slightly different voicings throughout, but that's kind of the starting point for most of these voicings. So how do you actually apply these bass lines? Well, generally if I'm in a band already, I'm not actually going to play these because I leave that to the bass player. But it's really good for a situation where you're in a duo and you're backing up a singer or a lead instrument and you don't have bass there. So in that case, I would recommend using these grooves. But also, I think it's just good for your general appreciation of bass lines and what bass players actually do. And it's just a good fun challenge to get under your fingers. Use this as a starting point to arrange your own bass lines and your own comping patterns and your own grooves. So by all means, learn it note for note if that assists you. But my hope is that this gives you some inspiration to write your own stuff. Awesome. Okay, so let's break down the first bass line. And that's what we'll do. We'll look at each one in separation. We'll do an exercise and then we'll look at the next one in isolation. Then we'll do it in an exercise. So we'll sort of analyze them as we go. So let's look at Chameleon. So the idea with this one is that we're approaching the tonic from the 6th chromatically. So what I mean by that is that's the tonic there, the D. We're going to approach it from the B, which is the 6th of the scale. Cool, so that leads us into our tonic. And then we're going to jump up to our 7th and then hit the tonic again up the octave. You can hear that syncopation. 2, 3. So it's kind of bouncing off the beat there. I mean, it's bouncing before the beat, that's what I mean. So once you've got that rhythm down, the rhythm's exactly the same on the G, and it's actually the same approach into the G. So the 6th of G heading into there. And instead of going 7 tonic, we're actually going to go 5th and 7th. So slightly different from the D. So all together, it's like this. Awesome. So when I get to adding the comping patterns, I'm going to do two comps. I'm going to do a simple one that you can do where you're really just focusing on the bass line. But what I like to do is have the comp chord on beats 2 and 4. And then I'll have a slightly challenging one. So let's look at this first one first, and you'll see where the 2 and 4 are placed against this bass line. So if we analyze it closely, it comes straight after you hit that 7th note there. I would just practice that in isolation while you get that ready. And I'm using that minor 9 voicing. When I go to the G, I'm just dropping that bottom note down. And when I'm leading up, I'm going to hit together with the 7th as we're heading up. So I'll show you what I mean. Seventh. Notice I'm hitting straight off that note there too. So that's the 2 and 4 groove against it. Alright, now for my slightly advanced comp pattern, I'm actually going to hit the first 2 notes of the bar together. And what I'm doing with the rest of the bar is I'm doing this, so just without the left hand is da da ba 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 da ba 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 da. So that's my rhythm. So how that fits in together is the first 2 notes are together, and then I hit on the same time as this one, but then I'm playing in between these 2 notes here. Awesome. So we're ready to do it with the drum beat. I've got a free drum loop lined up here that we can play along with, 80 beats per minute. It's going to be fun, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the bass line 4 times. I'm going to add my 2/4 groove 4 times, and then I'm going to do that slightly advanced comp 4 times. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Hey, good stuff. If you followed me through that one, what I'll do, I'll just have a little play along with me, learn it in isolation, play along with me again, and then just play it by yourself. Get a drum loop going or metronome. Alright, so that was Chameleon. Let's learn the bass line for Good Times by Chic. Okay, what I like about this one is we are just hitting the beat. So 1, 2, 3. Then we jump down. And we're going up the D natural minor scale. So I'm using that B flat there. If you're using it in a different context, you might want to use B natural. That's absolutely fine too. But in the context of this song, we're playing a B flat there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're jumping into the G. So slowly, here's how it goes with the beat. Alright, so the notes are jumping down to the second of the scale, and we're just going straight up to the tonic again. And when we hit the tonic, we jump straight to the G. And then we're back on the beat after the second note there. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now this line's really cool. It goes da ba da. Now if you're a bass player and you're saying, hey, that's not the real bass line, you're right. Haven't quite got it the exact same as the recording, but I think this works really well on piano doing it like this. So 2, 3, 4, up. So I'm basically once I've done my little syncopation into the 6 again, I'm jumping down the octave to bring us back down. Ba ba. So a lot of it is on the beat. It's just the ends of the phrases. And you can see I kind of change if I'm going low or high. The main thing is that I want to get that sense of jumping down. So if I end up doing that, I'll just make sure I do that. Okay, so there's that bass line. Let's look at it with the 2 and 4 in there. So what I'm doing there is I hit on the second note there, 1, 2, 3, and then it's by itself in the right hand. And then I'm hitting on the F and the C in the second note. And then I'm hitting the chord on the first time I hit the F. And the last time I hit the F. Okay, so that's getting the comp chords on the 2 and 4. Again, just using those voicings there. The more advanced comp pattern I had for this one is kind of a bit like a James Brown thing. And I actually love this voicing where you hit the 6, but you've got the 7th and the 3rd there. So you've got that kind of bit of a clash there. It's because of that major 7 there. But it kind of resolves nicely. So I'm just going 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, and up. So when we're counting the subdivisions, I'm thinking 1E and 2E and up. 1, 2, 3E and up. 1, 2, 3E and up. But I'll show you where it should be theoretically. So 1, 2, 3, up. So that first one just hits in the gap there. 1, 2, 3, up. Now this one, when I'm launching off it, it just needs to hit just before the C. I'll show you what I mean. See how I got to that chord just before the C. And same thing there. And there, I'm hitting just before the last F there. Okay, and all together it sounds like this. Okay, let's try it with the beat. So we'll just start with the bass line, the 2 and 4 comp, and that last one I just showed you. Alright, let's go. Awesome! So that was the Good Times groove. Now we're going to look at shaky ground. So standing on shaky ground, this bass line goes like this. Now, it normally stays in the same key. I'm actually going to arrange it so it goes up to the G, and I'll show you what I mean. that lead up there. Maybe I'll base the line on that D rather than that D, just so you can see that lead up there. Alright, so what's actually happening? I'm going 1 and 2 and 1. So again, I'm loving this bass line because we're playing on that 6th note and the 7th there. So we go 1 and 2 and 3. Sometimes I'm going down to the flat third, sometimes I'm going up to the tonic. Just for consistency, I might try and do it just down to that third. And same thing in G. I might do it down here. Then here, all those are on the beat, by the way, those bottom notes. But I'm just going 1 1 E, 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1. Alright, so that's that bass line. I'm going to add the comp chord to it now, the 2 and 4. So where do the 2 and 4 fit in? We're actually hitting it after hitting it between that note and those two notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, that's hitting at the same time as the one that we're jumping off. Same thing in G. But on the second time round, we'll do something a bit different. We're going to do this. All we're doing is we're just hitting on the 1, 2, 3, 4. So forget about the jump ups. All you need to know is you're syncing up with the 2 and 4 of the bottom notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, and the more advanced comp line I had for this, it's kind of this very common guitar thing, but it sounds really cool on keyboard. It goes... In fact, what I'll do, just to simplify it, I'll just do that and then one hit on the 4th beat. So what I'm doing there, I've got this first inversion D minor chord, but I'm actually slipping off the chromatic below. So together it will sound like this. And we'll use the same voicing for the G. And what I'm doing there is I'm syncing up with the thumb in the left hand, and I'm using these 6 chords. So basically I'm going B, A flat, E flat, C, A, E, D flat, B flat, F. All together that sounds like this. So I've got essentially 3 notes here, and this one basically is hitting before and after that top one. So together, right, left, right, together. So once you've got that, you've got the trickiest part out of the way of that comp pattern. So together, right, left, right. And then we're just hitting on the 4. Together. And on the second one, we'll do that chromatic run. Cool. All right, let's try it with the drum beat. And finally, we're going to look at I Wish. This is one of my favourite bass lines. It starts on the tonic, then it goes down to the minor third, and goes up the scale. Then it lands on the G, which is our 4 chord. And then, just like we've been doing in Chameleon Chameleon, we're leading up to that tonic again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, D, G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4. And that's essentially the pattern. The only thing that changes is instead of going down all the time, the second time it goes up. So 1, G, D, up, G, back down, D, down, G, up, D, up, G, down. What a cool bass line, hey? Stevie Wonder. You probably notice all through these exercises, I've been adding a few little ghost notes, but they're not essential notes, but they just help give that sense of the groove and the swing. and 4. That's pretty easy with this one. We're just going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2. So we're hitting on the G, G, and the C. G, C. And because it's essentially D, G, D, G, I'm changing my comp chord every time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Technically, if you were looking at that by itself, that's such a clash, but because it's playing as a passing note, it actually just works there. Advanced line I have for this is actually just taken from the song, so I'm going to go looking back on when I... And that's all second inversion triads going up and down the scale, but I do change it when we get to the D to a second inversion. I just thought that that didn't quite work. Oh, it does, but you know, I'm just going with this sound, which is a little bit more open against the G. If I have that, it's a very obvious sort of G. I'm just kind of preferring that open sound. That's why I've changed it there. But if you like that sound, go for that as well. It's kind of easier to play because it's all the same shape. So basically second inversion and then change to first inversion. So that happens twice and it goes with every note here. 1, 2. And when we get to this note on the G, then we bounce off the second note off the B. And notice I'm using staccato, like I'm making it long, short, long, short. And then the second half goes like this. And that's on the beat for the first one, for the second note. And then we're in between notes and then we land on the beat. Now the next one, I'm just going to use... Oh, and the voicing I had there was that D minor 7, and just drop those 2 notes there. Now the second one I'm going to do is the same voicing, just D minor 7, D minor 7. I mean, it's all kind of played in terms of G there, so G6 there. But the rhythm's a little bit funkier with this one. So this one hits before the beat, so we go ba, 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 ba. So all together we have this. On the beat and before the beat. I'm using a few grace notes just to give it a bit of extra colour. Whoops. Can't play and... Oh, playing and talking is hard, especially when you're syncopating. Anyway, let's do it with the drums. So bass first, 2s and 4s, and then the comping pattern. Because this one's a bit faster, I might play them 8 times. So halfway there. Alright, that's it for this lesson. Hope you enjoyed those 4 iconic bass lines and right hand comping. If you enjoyed this one, please subscribe for weekly piano lessons. Thanks guys, and see you in the next lesson.